It starts like a joke, a cute cartoon opening, bubbly sound effects, goofy characters with big smiles. It feels like a parody of Doraemon or Crayon Shinchan. But then they try to hang themselves, and you realize this isn't a joke, or if it is, it's the darkest one you've ever seen. This is Happy Family Planning, Episode 8 of Paranoia Agent, an episode where three strangers meet online and agree to form a suicide pact. They fail, repeatedly, and somehow, it keeps getting weirder. They try to die by gas, they lie across train tracks, they march toward an erupting volcano. All the while, the show keeps smiling at you. The background stays soft. The colors are pastel. The music is cheery. And beneath all of that, there's something deeply wrong. It's not just tonal whiplash. It's emotional whiplash. You want to laugh, but something in your gut tells you not to. And by the time it's over, you don't feel ashamed. You feel disturbed because Paranoia Agent didn't just break format. It broke something in you too. The episode follows three strangers. Fuyabachi, an aging man who seems tired of existing. Zuriyama, a slightly younger, somewhat timid businessman. And Kamome, a 10-year-old girl with a smile that never fades. They meet on an internet suicide forum. Their goal is simple: die together. Their methods are not. They try hanging themselves from a tree, and the branch snaps. They try gassing themselves in a van, and get food poisoning instead. They lie on train tracks, but get up before the train arrives. They head for a volcano, and instead find a weird group wedding. The whole thing plays like a dark comedy sketch. Each attempt is a bit, a setup, and a punchline. But underneath the slapstick, it's something deeply existential. The characters are failing to die because, deep down, they aren't sure they want to. This is what absurdism looks like. Life is meaningless. Death is uncertain. And every attempt to find a clean exit becomes a farce. According to Albert Camus, the French philosopher of absurdism, the only serious philosophical question is whether or not to commit suicide. Not because we should, but because the search for meaning in a meaningless world drives us to a breaking point. These three aren't asking, how do we die? They're asking, why can't we? And Paranoia Agent answers with a smile. Because maybe the joke isn't on them. Maybe it's on us. In every episode of Paranoia Agent, people are trying to escape their failures, their lies, their shame. They get attacked by a boy with golden rollerblades, a mysterious figure named Lil Slugger. But here, In Happy Family Planning, Little Slugger never shows up. He doesn't need to, because Fuyabachi, Tsuruyama, and Kamome aren't trying to run from something. They're trying to run through. They're not waiting for relief. They've already given up. And that's what makes this episode so disturbing. In every other episode, Little Slugger is the manifestation of denial. A force that attacks people when their psyche breaks. But these three, they don't deny their pain. They accept it. They make it their mission. They even turn it into a twisted form of friendship. Suicide isn't a shadow hanging over them. It's a bond. And somehow, that's more horrifying than any bat-wielding phantom. Because it feels real. You met people like this. Online. Maybe in real life. People who joke about their trauma. Mask it with smiles. And form tight-knit connections built around shared pain. And this episode shows how that pain can be turned inward. Not as violence. Not as a breakdown. But as a slow, smiling surrender. It's not about the will to live or the fear of death. It's about exhaustion and what happens when life feels like a loop you can't wake up from. When Happy Family Planning first aired, a lot of people hated it. Some still do. Felt like filler. Like a joke. Paranoia Agent had been a tense, surreal crime mystery. And suddenly, you get cartoon mascots and a suicidal road trip. It didn't fit. It broke the tone. It broke the pacing. And for some viewers, it broke the illusion. That was the point. Satoshi Kon was never interested in comfort. He wanted to destabilize you. Just like he did in Perfect Blue. Just like Paprika, Millennium Actress. He wanted you to question the frame. This episode isn't a detour. It's a rupture. A signal that reality, both for the characters and the audience, is about to fall apart. It's the first time the show stops pretending to be a mystery and starts becoming a mirror. A mirror that reflects not just trauma or repression, but the absurdity of pretending everything is okay. That's why the tone is so off. That's why it's full of jokes that don't feel funny. Because Happy Family Planning is where Paranoia Agent stops trying to be understood and starts asking, why do you need to understand this at all? So what is this episode really about? Why does it make you uncomfortable? Why does it linger in your brain long after punchlines fade? Because Happy Family Planning isn't about suicide. It's about the mask we put over pain. The smile we wear when we're too exhausted to explain what's wrong. The moment a child is always smiling, even when she's talking about dying, because that's what she's been taught. Make people comfortable, even when you're suffering. Fuyabachi and Tsuruyama are relics. Men no one notices. They aren't trying to end their lives because of a single trauma. They just don't feel seen. They walk through the world like ghosts. And this episode says what most shows never dare to. That sometimes people don't scream for help. They just get quiet. They make jokes. They log into anonymous forums and look for someone, anyone, who feels the same. And when they find each other, maybe for a little while, they don't feel alone. But the joke is that they fail at dying. But the tragedy is that they're not really trying to live either. They're suspended in this strange limbo where everything feels numb. And the scariest part, they're not crazy. They're not evil. They're just tired. And that's why this episode hits harder than any bat ever could. Happy Family Planning is the episode that broke Paranoia Agent. Broke the show's tone. It broke the pacing. It broke the illusion of control. But more than that, it broke the silence. We live in a world that doesn't know how to talk about pain. Not really. We post memes about wanting to disappear. We joke about burnout, loneliness, hopelessness, because that's easier than saying, I'm not okay. This episode takes that silence and turns it into something we can finally look at. Something absurd, something cartoonish, but also something real. And maybe that's why it's the most honest episode in the entire series, because it doesn't give you answers. It just holds up a mirror. And when you stare into it, past the jokes, past the color, past the absurdity, you might see yourself. Not the part of you that's scared, not the part of you that's angry, just the part that's tired. And for a moment, maybe you don't feel so alone. And maybe that's the real punchline.